At the surface, the ocean feels alive in ways we recognize. Sunlight filters through the water, fueling plankton blooms that feed fish and sustain entire ecosystems, from coral reefs to roaming whales. Everything here is shaped by light, rhythms of day and night, seasonal blooms, and the bright colors and behaviors that broadcast life to the world above. But this world of warmth and light is only the thinnest skin on a planet where water reigns. As you drift downward, that familiar foundation slowly begins to fade. Around 200 meters below the surface, sunlight weakens until it can no longer support plant life. Colors drain away, shadows soften, and the ocean slips into a dim, quiet region, known in scientific terms as the mesopelagic, colloquially called the twilight zone. The twilight zone is neither sunlit nor truly dark. It is a place of diminishing light, where the rules of life are subtly rewritten. Photosynthesis is no longer possible. Organisms that depend on the energy of the sun must either descend, adapt, or rely upon nutrients imported from above. Here, life survives on what drifts down from the productive surface, tiny fragments of dead plankton, the waste of swimming critters, degraded bits of algae, and the occasional carcass large enough to change the fortunes of a community. This shower of organic material is known as marine snow. It falls constantly through the water column like a slow, grainy snowfall, and it is the lifeblood of many twilight zone species. Where marine snow accumulates, animals gather, filter feeders, particle grazers, and opportunists that have evolved to exploit this steady, if patchy, rain of food. Because light is sparse, many twilight zone animals are built to be hard to see. Transparency is one of the most useful camouflage strategies in mid-water. When skin, muscle, and internal organs lack pigmentation, the organism becomes nearly indistinguishable from the surrounding water. The silhouette, the single cue many predators rely on, is erased. Jelly-like bodies drift almost invisibly, their edges softened until they are nothing more than slight ripples in the dim light. Such creatures move slowly, conserving energy in an environment where calories are precious. But not all solutions are the same. Where transparency is impractical, life has become inventive. Bioluminescence, the biological production of light through chemical reactions, appears in myriad forms and for countless functions. Some animals use faint glows to attract food. Small photophores dangle like tiny beacons to lure curious prey. Others flash light in patterns that seem designed for communication, territorial displays, or mating signals. The palette of bioluminescent colors is limited. Blue and green wavelengths dominate because they travel the furthest in seawater. But within those confines, nature has produced astonishing variety. Bioluminescence can also be a defensive technology. When threatened, a creature may eject a cloud of glowing mucus or detach a luminous appendage to distract a predator and make its escape. A sudden burst of light can temporarily blind or confuse another animal, or it can draw the attention of a larger predator that might attack the attacker. Some species use counter-illumination. a precise match of their underside light to the faint glow from above. Viewed from below, the animal's silhouette vanishes, making it much harder for a predator to spot. One comb jelly, an animal almost impossibly fragile and elegant, produces red bioluminescence. Red light is quickly absorbed in seawater and does not travel far at depth. For most Twilight Zone creatures, however, red is invisible. Eyes tuned to blue and green simply do not register it. The result is an animal darker than the surrounding water, a negative space that even a strong spotlight struggles to reveal. Not all life here is active hunting. Dead whales, large fish, and even vast mats of seaweed that sink to the depth become bonanzas. Localized, transient ecosystems fueled entirely by the luck of a fall. A whale fall. The carcass of a whale descending to the bottom can create a complex, multi-stage community. First come the scavengers. Hagfish, sleeper sharks, and crabs strip away soft tissues. Next, smaller predators and opportunists break bones and softer remnants into smaller pieces. Eventually, a rich community of microbes colonizes the bones, breaking down lipids and creating chemical gradients that sustain specialized worms and clams. Some whalefall systems can persist for decades, and they provide islands of abundance in an otherwise sparse world. In the bathypelagic and deeper, oddities proliferate. The vampire squid is a classic example. Its name conjures predatory hunger, yet it is not a ravenous hunter. With large eyes, cloak-like webbing, and long filaments, it collects particles and detritus from the water. It has a slow metabolism, low oxygen needs, and a suite of physiological adaptations, dark, copper-rich blood and flexible tissues that let it persist where oxygen is scarce and food is thin. As the seafloor comes into view, around 4,000 meters, the abyssal plains dominate the panorama. These vast, largely flat expanses of soft sediment cover more than half the planet's surface and are among the least explored regions on Earth. In these conditions, life is often slow, sparse, and resilient in ways that challenge expectations. Some animals, like giant isopods and certain sea cucumbers, grow much larger than their shallow water relatives. The phenomenon of deep-sea gigantism is not comprehensively understood. Hypotheses include cold temperatures slowing metabolism and allowing more prolonged growth, sparse predation pressures permitting larger sizes, and the high energy efficiency of larger body plans when food is rare. The sediment itself is alive. Grains of mud and silt are inhabited by myriad microbes that recycle nutrients slowly but persistently. Bacterial carpets inch across the seabed, breaking down organic matter grain by grain. When food does arrive, whether a whale fall, a tangle of macroalgae, or detrital flotsam, these microscopic ecosystems quickly respond, converting the bounty into biomass that other organisms can use. The arrival of food can transform a bare stretch of abyss into a thriving node of activity. Beyond 6,000 meters, trenches carve the deepest parts of the ocean. The hadal zone, the vertical span inside the world's deep trenches, is a place of extremes. Pressures hundreds to thousands of times greater than at the surface. Temperatures hovering near freezing, and darkness absolute. Yet life persists. Soft-bodied snailfish have been recorded at depths beyond 8,000 meters, their bones reduced or absent to allow flexibility under crushing pressure. Amphipods, small shrimp-like crustaceans, aggregate in huge numbers around food falls and feeding sites, their bodies adapted to withstand pressure and low temperatures. Human fingerprints have even reached these depths. Microplastics and other anthropogenic molecules have been discovered within organisms collected from trenches. These findings are sobering. They reveal that human influence now extends to the deepest, most remote pockets of the planet, and that our waste can be carried on ocean currents down into places long thought untouched. In some locations, the seafloor is marked not by mud, but by hot, mineral-rich springs, hydrothermal vents. These chimneys spew superheated water that has percolated through the Earth's crust, picked up dissolved metals and reduced chemicals, and returned to the sea floor with dramatic force. Around these vents, life does not depend on sunlight, but on chemistry. Microbes, chemolithoautotrophs, harness the energy in reduced chemicals such as hydrogen sulfide and methane, and convert it into organic matter through chemosynthesis. These microbes form the base of unique vent ecosystems that include giant tube worms, clams, and shrimp, all of which derive energy from symbiotic microbes or feed directly on chemosynthetic bacteria. Hydrothermal vent communities demonstrate a crucial ecological truth. Life needs energy more than it needs light. Whether that energy comes from photons or from chemical bonds deep beneath the Earth's crust, organisms can exploit it. Vent ecosystems have prompted scientists to rethink the potential for life in environments previously considered barren, and even to consider life's possibility on other worlds with subsurface oceans or geothermal activity. As we descend, the deeper we go, the more unfamiliar life becomes. Forms stretch and compress. Structures vanish and reappear in unexpected ways. Transparent bodies and bioluminescent signals replace scales and vivid pigments. Light is not simply less available, it becomes a tool, used in new and creative ways. For stealth, for private illumination, for communication, and for lures. Sensory systems change as well. Where vision becomes less useful, other senses sharpen. Lateral lines and mechanoreceptors detect minute water movements. Chemosensory systems track invisible plumes of dissolved compounds. Statocysts and inner ear-like structures monitor orientation in a world without visual reference. Parasitism is widespread in the deep. Life in the ocean is a balance of cooperative and exploitative relationships. Parasites, from tiny copepods to more complicated life history specialists, exploit hosts in every zone. Some are specific in their prey. Others are opportunists, switching hosts as they encounter them. In the scarcity of the deep, parasitism is a successful strategy. A parasite that can survive on the resources of a larger animal need not find abundant external food. The evolutionary pressures of the deep ocean are unyielding. Energy scarcity, crushing pressure, and a landscape defined more by chemistry and particulate flux than by light. These constraints have produced a bewildering array of adaptations. Slow metabolic rates reduce energy demand. Reduced skeletal structures confer flexibility and reduce calcium costs. Enhanced fat stores provide long-term energy reserves. Many deep-sea animals can tolerate wide ranges in pressure and temperature. Some fish show pedomorphosis, retaining juvenile characteristics into adulthood, perhaps because juvenile body plans are better suited to low-energy environments. The deep sea hosts evolutionary experiments with no parallel in terrestrial ecosystems. Sexual strategies range from hermaphroditism to the extreme sexual parasitism of the anglerfish. Some species release gametes in timed spawning events, while others brood their young to ensure greater survival rates. Scientific exploration of the deep sea is comparatively recent. The 19th century Challenger expedition began to reveal the diversity of deep-sea life. The bathyscaphe Trieste reached Challenger Deep in 1960, and submersibles and ROVs have since revolutionized our understanding. Technologies such as multi-beam sonar, autonomous underwater vehicles, and environmental DNA sampling now allow scientists to map seafloor topography and detect organisms without direct capture. Despite this progress, more than 80% of the ocean has never been seen directly by humans. Each new expedition reveals not only new species, but also new behaviors and ecological interactions, often at odds with prior assumptions. The twilight and midnight zones play a major role in the planet's biogeochemical cycles. How carbon fixed by surface photosynthesis is transported and broken down at depth affects global carbon budgets. The biological pump influences atmospheric carbon dioxide and, over long timescales, climate. The tiny processes of particle aggregation, microbial decomposition, and zooplankton grazing scale up to influence planetary systems. Yet these zones are not immune to human influence. Climate change alters water stratification and can reduce nutrient supply to surface waters. Ocean warming affects species ranges and metabolic rates. Deoxygenation creates larger oxygen minimum zones that compress habitable layers. Plastic debris has been found in deep-sea animals, even from trenches. Deep-sea fishing can devastate populations with slow growth and late maturity. Deep-sea mining for polymetallic nodules poses unknown risks. It can destroy habitats that took millennia to form and release sediment plumes that smother organisms. The deep sea's slow recovery rates mean disturbances today could have impacts lasting centuries. At the same time, the deep offers valuable resources. Pharmaceuticals derived from deep-sea organisms show promise in medicine. Novel enzymes from extremophile microbes offer industrial applications. As humanity contemplates sustainable use of ocean resources, the balance between benefit and conservation becomes urgent. Deep-sea cameras have captured images of strange animals and cities of tubeworms around vents that have expanded our sense of life's tenacity. The deep sea challenges our intuition. Where we expect emptiness, there is abundance and complexity. Scientists continue to develop new tools. Acoustic imaging tracks nightly vertical migration over large scales. Cameras and baited landers provide windows into scavenger communities. Genetic tools reveal the presence of species from tiny water samples, enabling biodiversity surveys without capturing organisms. The deep sea raises fundamental questions. Chemosynthetic ecosystems demonstrate that photosynthesis is not the only path to complex communities. Microbial communities mediate most transformations of matter in deep environments, from the decay of marine snow to chemical conversions at vents. Symbiotic relationships between microbes and larger organisms, tubeworms trading hydrogen sulfide for organic carbon, demonstrate how life can reconfigure biogeochemistry. Many deep-sea animals can endure months of little or no food by entering states of torpor and lowering their metabolic rates. Predator-prey interactions take on novel forms at depth. Ambush predation is common. Lures and aggressive mimicry are widespread. Even sensory ecology differs markedly from the surface. Sound travels farther in water, so acoustic communication is important. Many animals have refined mechanosensory abilities to detect vibrations over long distances. The deep ocean is not static. Geological activity continually remodels seafloor habitats. New hydrothermal vents create habitats from scratch. Cold seeps support distinct faunas. Over geological timescales, these processes drive speciation and extinction. Despite its inaccessible nature, the deep is fragile. Long-lived organisms like deep corals and sponges can take centuries to reach maturity. Disturbance from trawling or mining can destroy structures that support whole communities and will not be replaced within human lifetimes. What should be our relationship to this realm? First, curiosity. Continued exploration is essential. We still lack basic knowledge for the vast majority of deep-sea organisms. Second, humility. The deep operates on scales that dwarf human lifetimes. Actions taken today can have consequences that last far longer than the institutions that authorize them. There are encouraging models for responsible engagement. Marine protected areas can shelter vulnerable habitats. International agreements can limit destructive activities in the high seas. Novel technologies can reduce our footprint while expanding knowledge. Interdisciplinary collaboration can create stewardship strategies that balance use and preservation. Each descent reveals forms of life that challenge what we think is possible. The ocean does not become quieter or emptier as we descend. It becomes stranger, more varied, and more intricately connected. The twilight and midnight zones are processes of recycling, migration, and slow transformation that sustain life on Earth. The deep sea is connected to our lives. The carbon sequestered through sinking particles influences the atmosphere we breathe. Fish that spend part of their lives in the depths are part of fisheries that sustain communities. Conversely, the pollution we produce reverberates down to the trenches. Descending through the ocean's layers is an exercise in humility and imagination. It is a reminder that life will find ways to persist in hostile conditions, and that much of our planet operates beyond direct perception. Just beneath the bright ripples is a deep, dim world, wherein the slow drift of marine snow and the sudden glow of bioluminescent flash, life continues its long experiment, strange, persistent, and quietly vital.